Good morning. I've been praying about this, seeing how I can say this. And I know how we can stop every war because basically Iran just wants to say that they have been creating their own nuclear energy, or they want to be able to create their own nuclear energy because Iran's in contract right now. They're forced to sell their oil to us. Nuclear bombs are not real. You can get from cold fusion, you can make free energy, even hot fusion, but hot fusion you have to burn and combust and there's a waste product when you use hot fusion most of the time. In cold fusion, there's no waste. So that's that's what this whole world, like, if we could admit that airplanes don't carry swimming pools full of fuel while they fly, our gas prices would go down. These countries would get out of their contracts to keep this global image, because for you guys to believe in petroleum, you have to believe that dinosaurs came and billions of years ago. I don't even know that's not even possible to record data from that far. We lose history. First, this is what it was. Thank you, Father. Everything that we believe in the past 150 years, everybody who talks about anything farther than 150 years ago, you're wrong unless you know the truth. Because if you're learning from Rockefeller indoctrination, everything you know is wrong. It's all been manipulated for this global agenda. That's why, if you go look at the original footage of when they were testing nuclear bombs, no, they edited all that footage. They were doing Project Dominic, trying to go past the firmament, and then they have props where they can take helium in the air and combust it and make it look really big. If you watch the dudes that were watching that, they were walking around in shorts and t-shirts with sunglasses on. Some people were just looking at it. There's no such thing as atomic bombs. There's such things as using nuclear energy, but they wanted to be greedy. They stole Nikola Tesla's inventions, Ford's inventions, Rudolf Diesel's inventions, George Washington Carver's inventions. How many real inventors are there? And they stole them all for their globalist agenda. The only reason that war exists is because it's greedy men who want to make more contracts in in a legal system, a legal fiction. They call it legal, but it's fraud. There is no the claims, and everything that they do has never been verified. It's all just more paperwork and agreeing to stuff, to people's signatures and paying taxes. It's not a real society. It's not a real law. If we could end the global deception of petroleum coming from frickin' dinosaurs. No, petroleum comes from Sheol. And when Rockefeller was here, he had a control on all the petroleum. Didn't he make it to where, like, people had to use his railroad tracks, and he had the cheapest, like, they had, if they wanted to transport or anything, like, that's why Rockefeller, if you go, you need to go read this book, Modern Myths of the Medical Mafia and the Mainstream Media and the Multitude of Lying Liars That Manufactured Them by Ty Bollinger. Go read that book and learn real history, because anyone who's going to talk about history and wars and bombs and this and that, no, you're all just been good little components in their system. The whole system collapses, and this evil tradition, this tradition of borrowing and stealing, and first of all, stealing and then creating banking systems where you'll never be able to pay them back, that's ignorance. That is ridiculous. That is really wrong. You guys are all wrong, and you guys are just like, you have news reporters, they're just like, every day you could see how the news reporters, they call themselves reporters and journalists, but everyone's just like, war, war, war. War because you guys are greedy. If you could admit that aeroplanes, they fly in the airplane. They use different kind of energy. Okay? There's Rolls-Royce and who else? GM are the only people that make airplanes for commercial flying. Honda has some great planes, but I guarantee you, you're not going to put 59,000 gallons of fuel in an airplane's fuselage and in its wings. It is very insulting for you to expect me to believe that an airplane is going to hold that much fuel on its wings when the damn wings are made from aluminum. They're using the energy in the ether. Once they probably need something to combust those engines, but once those engines get running, they're probably not using much fuel at all, you know? And I guarantee you there's ways to combust those engines without wasting fuel. And obviously, those planes run on the best fuel you can get. It's like grain alcohol, jet fuel. And that's when I think the prohibition on alcohol, because people were making their own vehicles with grain alcohols, vegetable alcohols. You can make your own alcohol. Cars that ran on Rudolph Diesel and Henry Ford's original intention, they ran on grain alcohols, and they were lubricated with vegetable oils. Even the body panels were made out of hemp. They had hemp fiber panels, and I guess there was like vegetable fiber panels. They would mix it with hemp, I guess. I don't know. I think there was two versions, but it was stronger than steel. Okay? So the only reason that there would be a war, it would be to feed the media and the stocks. And we all know that the stock market is another fraud. They created that when long time ago. You know, you can look at the history of all the what you call them, Europeans and stuff. They left and came over here during World War II and then they took over. Then they killed the real people who were supposed to survive the Titanic. Like, if they would have never died, then the Federal Reserve would have never became so corrupt, because the stock market is hyperinflated since then. Maybe back in the day the stock market actually worked and it represented real commodities, but ever since the Federal Reserve was created, they completely destroyed the stock market, and that's the only thing people care about. And what happens during war? The only stock market, KBR's stock was the only stock that was up during the Iraq War. You want another stock? You want KBR to just profit? You want people to die? No, no one wants that. That's the original land where God lived in the beginning. Those are original Christians, okay? Original Jews live there too, okay? Everyone who's original lives there. You got foreign invaders who created nation states and hired puppet actors to represent their states. These prime ministers and these nation states, those are the puppets. And they're using that land in vain. If you guys help the people and you can control the demonic, send them back to Sheol so we can get our fuel cheaper again, then none of these wars would exist. That's the problem. You guys are fighting based off of all deception. All of your intelligence is based off of deception. If you believe in 150-year history, I cannot take you serious. Okay? You might be an expert in your field, which is great. I appreciate that, and I love learning. I love asking questions. I love learning. But for me to just take your version of what you know, here, did you know about this? Here's the history of what you know. This is how far it goes back, blah, blah, blah. And people don't like being corrected. And I don't like, it's not like I'm here to correct you, but hey, if our minds join together, we can learn what's really going on and fix this world. But people get an ego. They have pride. They don't want to be corrected. Please, for real, go research how the world really works. Take away your 150-year timeline and all these evil companies who had created corporations. IG Farben, go look at them. We don't need more IG Farben. Maybe IG Farben wasn't originally intended supposed to work properly, but it got destroyed after IG Auschwitz was created, and that's where Auschwitz, the what you guys call what do they call it, the concentration camp. Auschwitz is a city, 18 square kilometers, and it's factories and buildings and everything. And that's why they had tattoos, because they had to punch in and punch out, and they worked there, but they used them as slave labor for World War II to destroy our timeline and to make a fake rocket program. That's what they were doing. A military-industrial complex and a fake rocket program. That's what World War II was for. And they started eugenics. It's in this book. They started eugenics through Seti Rockefeller. She donated to Margaret Sanger, and Margaret Sanger was like a disciple. Father, forgive me. She was like a loyalist to Hitler and Satanism and all that bullshit, okay? She had to go to all the colleges and teach the young girls about social hygiene, and then she started the ABCL, which was the American Birth Control League, which later turned into Planned Parenthood, and now they call eugenics healthcare. It went from genocide to eugenics and the pharmaceutical industry. Then they started putting rubber on our feet, and that's when they started creating way more toxic drugs in the pharmaceutical companies to cause side effect based medicine, medical industry. Side effect and procedure and any way the insurance company can bill you is what the medical system is built on now. It has nothing to do with healing. And healing our land, you have to know the truth. When you resonate in truth, your body feels it and you return. We have to heal our land. We have to get these contracts out. I pray for the people of Persia, not just Iran, Iraq, the whole Persia. You guys are using that land's name in vain. Those Christians, those Jews, the real ones that are there, that have always been there. Even the new practicing Jews, the good ones, they want to be in peace too. Everyone there should automatically gets along with each other. It's you politicians and you media companies who cause the division. Why don't you correct yourselves? It's Lent, and you guys are planning a war. Shame on you. I'm very disappointed in you. You know, it's the opposite of what my father would do, is make sure that some stock market can maintain its numbers. That's not how God works. You need to think about put yourself in their shoes. Go walk in that town. Think about it. Look what it looks like. People are getting shot at because they want freedom, real freedom. It's not cool. Their own governments are turning on them. And for people to talk about, Mossad this and that, I think Mossad is just like the Windows 98 version of what's going on, for real. I think it's way more complicated than that, and we need help with realizing the true nature of our earth. You need to know you are not a ball, a globe. Well, I think it's called a ball and a globe because these are heliocentric words created by Satanists. The Big Bang Theory was created by Satanists and Jesuits and deceivers. NASA's all of the same characters. NASA, Walt Disney, they're all the same characters, same corporations. They draw cartoons, produce CGI for you, and they made up outer space for you. Outer space is out, not up. We're at the center. Go look at real maps. Go look at navigation maps. Go look at flight logs. Just go look at it. You haven't done any of your research. You take your research from people who distort research, who say that they are researchers to make sure you don't know. They tell you what they want you to know, not the truth. Please, this war is based on fiction. Everyone should have the ability to produce their own cold fusion, where that way we don't have to waste energy. There's always a waste when you use hot fusion, most of the time. Combustion. There's better ways of using combustion. Go back to the original creators' ideas and their creations, the way it was intended. Using their names in vain should not be acceptable. What is that called? Defamation and stealing. Like if I created something and everyone knows it and now they're using it wrong, like you stole my property, yeah. Like right there. That was not your property, you stole it. You stole the creator's property and you're using it wrong. We need to fix it. That's real law. A real law, when there's a crime, there must be a victim. You can't just be like, we were supposed to be in contract, but something happened, and this dude didn't even know what the contract was, didn't even sign it, and they're gonna claim your property. There's real law should be practiced the way that God intended it, starting with constitutional law and reading common law, natural law, Mosaic law. And that's how, the founding fathers intended the law to work. Go read the Magna Carta even. We got so many different versions of policies now. That's why you need more and more bar members to keep up your facade. And you're going to try to use that to create more legal policies with new contracts, to create more wars. No, we're not interested in any of it. None of it at all. You could protect and save every human on this earth. Every living creature on this earth we could protect by giving them truth, letting them know, hey, we don't have to start any more wars. It's all contracts. That's all it is. We can return. I think SHIELD should be used for what God intended. Not every single vehicle in America using petroleum. That's crazy. Or maybe that's just a deception too. What if they're not really pumping out all that oil and they're making new forms of gasoline and just telling us it's coming? I don't know. That's a crazy idea, but listen, we need to go back to the original fuels, okay? And go read that book, Monumental Myths of the Modern Medical Mafia and the Mainstream Media and the Multitude of Lying Liars That Manufactured Them by Ty Bollinger. This is world peace by learning the truth. Then you can resonate in truth instead of deceiving with your propaganda, okay? Hope you have a blessed day, and I hope you can learn something from this video. My favorite thing to do is see how far we can see, you know, especially in an aeroplane. You can see so far, and you know that God created us here, a fixed, immovable earth, and that's why aeroplanes fly above in the airplane. And go learn about the fuel capacity of an aeroplane. I already did it. I have a video about it. I asked AI to break it down for me. How many gallons does a airplane hold? Approximately 59. They put it in pounds. I said, how many gallons is that? 59,000 pounds. I said, how big? I said, what's the size of a 59,000 gallon swimming pool? He's like, are you planning on building a swimming pool? It's like, nah, I just want to know the size. It'd have to be like 60 feet by 80 feet by 30 feet. And it's like, wow, that's a humongous pool. He's like, you're talking about Olympic-sized swimming pool. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, does it make sense that an Olympic-sized swimming pool would fit inside of an aeroplane? And it basically told me no. Like, I got it to admit it does sound ridiculous or something. It does sound hilarious. But I don't like pushing AI too far because I did it once and it fucking fucked everything up. So, Father, forgive me for cussing, but yeah, go learn something new because your 150-year version of what you know and you experts. You're about to expire, experts. Your knowledge is expiring. That's why they call you experts. Expiring. I'm not saying that you're gonna be expired. I'm saying you need to go learn. Makes perfect sense. Anyway, have a blessed day.